Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you are doing great. Good morning. Whoa, that's unprofessional. That's just unfortunate. Let's tighten down this thing. All right, let's talk today about what's going on with Walmart and Kroger and a key supplier. For them, both just claimed bankruptcy. Now, the supply chain is going to be very stressed in 2024. Why? Because, I'll give you an example. Had a subscriber reach out the other day and give me some really neat inside information on one of the nation's largest and most active manufacturer of replacement joints, like knees, ankles, things like that. Looks like Biden could use a handful of those. Okay, but my point being is that they are very successful. They sell out like crazy. They have such demand. They're in incredible demand. Why? Because the baby boomers are getting older and you want to live forever. And so you want to live without pain. I can't blame you. And so they have this absolute need for these implants, but they can't source the materials and make them fast enough. And that is one great example of where we are as a society. We are in stagflation right now. We have high employment and we have high inflation at the same time. Now, I know and I truly believe, and type one if you agree, that the government is cooking the books a little bit when it comes to those jobs numbers, right? They deceive you. They're telling you the numbers like, oh, here, look, jobs blow out, but it's not. It's because you're losing full-time jobs. For every like 3 full-time jobs you lose, you gain 5 part-time jobs. And that might sound really exciting, but it's not, because that means the American consumer is tapped. I spoke to a young lady that is going to absolutely crush it in this world, to be honest with you. A young lady that bought the real estate crash course, and she has 5 jobs. And it blows me away. And I said, how can you manage that? She goes, well, I'm going to be honest with you. It keeps me out of trouble, and it keeps me, keeps me lined up, focused, keeps me out of distractions, if I could, for lack of better terms. And she said, and I'm able to save a good amount of money. She's absolutely going to crush it. But the problem is, along with that, is you become stressed. It would be nice to be able to go to just one job and make the same amount of money, right? Where you know where you're going, and you can be more focused. But she, I have a feeling, is a very special case, because she's going to take those 5 jobs and everything she learns from it and absolutely dominate it in this world and become very successful. So let's dive into this story, okay? It's out of the street, and it's entitled Key Walmart and Kroger Supplier Files Chapter 11 Bankruptcy. You may not know the brand's name, but its products are sold by most key grocery chains, including Whole Foods, Walmart, Kroger, and Wegmans. The public often learns a company has financial troubles when a favored store closes. That's what's happening with Rite Aid, which will close up to 500 stores as part of its Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing. How many of you have a Rite Aid that's closing in your local area? And also, it is true, we don't really realize that a store is having trouble until all of a sudden you see, if let's say your local region has 3 of them, that one of them closes. And you start thinking, well, what's going on? A lot of times, companies, especially publicly traded companies, don't want that information in the spotlight till it's too late. And by the time it's too late, the stock's already, selling off, and it's almost like you missed the boat on that opportunity, right? So in more extreme cases like Bed Bath & Beyond, Christmas tree shops, and Tuesday Morning, customers learned how dire the company's finances had become when they visited their local store and found it undergoing a liquidation sale. There are, of course, often signs of financial trouble that some customers notice before a brand actually files for bankruptcy or even reports that possibility. Shelves get a little bit bare, and items were previously in stock are often missing. Just curious, can you do me a favor and let me know down below, what stores have you been seeing lately that are in that exact same situation? I'll give you one example. My local Kohl's store, all of the top shelves are completely missing. They're gone. They've taken them away. Very similar to what Bed Bath & Beyond did. And they've replaced them with sheets. So like these, almost like a thick towel kind of material. So you almost think that there's nothing was there, that it's part of the structure, part of the shelving, and just so that they can fill the shelves. But there are so many stores that are lacking inventory. And remember, look at a floor plan of a store as a heat map of money. And that's exactly how the CEO and the C-suite execs look, and the manager of the stores look at it. And they look at traffic pattern flows. That's why you have your impulse section right next to the cashier. I have a friend that's made an entire career off of the impulse section of stores. He's invented a bunch of materials. Actually, he's the one that invented those weapons lighters that look like the shotgun and stuff, barbecue lighters. That's one of my best friends, and he knows what patterns go through the store and the flow because he outfits just about every hardware store in America. But my point being is that that's a heat map, and you every time you have shelves that are missing, empty, that's one less product that you have available for sale that you may lose a customer to the next store down the road. So it's very, very important. Now, Bed Bath & Beyond, and this is just going to go through some history of this before it gets to this retailer. Bed Bath & Beyond actually filed for bankruptcy protection. Many of its stores looked like they had just completed a holiday sale and had yet to stock their shelves, restock them. The problem, of course, was that the chain's warehouse had no merchandise to fill those shelves because vendors were seeing payments slow down. When that happens, it creates a death cycle that only money can fix. In the case of a key vendor going bankrupt, customers may not know anything is wrong until products disappear from shelves. When Hostess went bankrupt in 2012. Fans of Twinkies and the company's other snack cakes only knew there was a problem when they went to buy those items and they simply weren't there. The latest retail bankruptcy involves a major supplier of grocery chains, including Kroger, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Wegmans. You may not know the company's name, but you almost certainly know its products. It's called Keyfruit. So Keyfruit Supplier files Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Aside from Dole and Chiquita, the fruit industry does not have a lot of big brand names that consumers know. Prima Wawona, if I even pronounced that right, spell that out phonetically for me, which is based in California, supplies major grocery chains all around the country with stone fruits, including peaches, plums, nectarines, and apricots. Look, I'm going to say this again. There's never been a better side hustle than to get into growing fruit trees and selling them. Especially as inflation takes off and we go into a crash, you're going to find that is one of the best side hustles. I do a little presentation in the side hustle course, and the reason why is because it's so easy. You could literally clip, branches off of a tree. I mean, I'm really simplifying this, but it's very easy. Stick them in the ground, they start growing into trees. I just talked to a coworker at the fire station into starting a tree operation. I think he's got like 200 trees already growing. He's excited. So just a little side tip there, okay? But it says here, the company does not have a public-facing website which describes its business. They said, we put quality first, which is why our fresh picked fruit is always at the peak of juiciness and flavor. Each stone fruit is grown, nurtured, hand-picked, and hand-packed the same way. From planting to harvest, we strive for perfection in everything we do. You can trust that when you choose Prima. You're enjoying premium quality fruits that are brought to you just the right time, the company shared on its website. Now, Prima Wawona has filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy with plans to either sell the company to existing debtors or a third-party filing. It says, what's next? The company said in a bankruptcy filing that it plans to continue its regular shipments to all of its retail partners. In the filing, the company said it plans to transition ownership of the company and recapitalize the business. Well, first off, I want you to understand that has to do with downsizing and layoffs. That's the first low-hanging fruits, pardon the pun, in any of these bankruptcies. Another thing you have to realize is as these companies claim bankruptcy, there will be supply chain deficits, which will lead to thinner shelves. And what I believe in 2024 will be some hoarding of food. All right, that's why I've been a real advocate of saying, hey, stock up now. Just let the craziness go by. You know those 25-gallon buckets of freeze-dried food? How much are those costing these days? I want to say they're like $400 or $300. I don't know, they could be less, but it's really crazy how they've even changed the amount of calories that are in one of those 5-gallon, 20-year shelf life freeze-dried buckets. And when I bought them, they were $70 each. And it's crazy to watch how much they've gone up. That's why I tell people, like, just get some emergency food, and not even emergency food, just get what you normally eat. If you get canned goods, just buy up a year's supply and put it in and just rotate it out, because eventually it'll get so expensive when it gets so crazy in the peak of this, what I believe to be a slight bout of hyperinflation, right, in food and energy. I want you to understand, it's like at a certain point you're going, well, I'm just not going to go to the grocery store. I'm just going to eat on what I have, and I'm going to save my money and buy inflation hedges with that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, it's one of the smartest things you could do to be prepared for this upcoming economic crash. And that's just being a wise individual, a prudent human being. But there's not a lot of them out there. Type 3 if you agree with that. There's not a lot of prudent human beings out there. So it says here, in connection with an agreement reached amongst the company's leaders. And again, this is a fruit company, right? A company that picks and packages fruit, okay? It's part of the supply chain that's going bankrupt. It's gonna have some restructuring, and it's gonna take time for Walmart, Kroger, and other companies to go find another source, okay? So again, this isn't to panic anyone, it's just showing you the sign of the times. You could have massive demand and still be going bankrupt because you took the wrong loans out, the interest rates on your debt resurfaced, and you had to refinance at much higher rates. Think about what's happening. This interest rate increase that happened with the Fed, but also now, since the currency, we're losing control of the dollar's dominance and the bond market's collapsing, and that's true. We have not seen 3 years of down bond market returns since 1787 or 1789, something like that. My point being is that these are unprecedented times. And anyone that says I'm a fearmonger, you're just not that bright. I hope that wakes you up. I hope you try and prove me wrong. You won't be able to in about 6 months, but I'm hoping to wake people up. But it says here, Prima Waiona is proceeding with a transaction that will involve either the conversion of existing lender debt into equity ownership, that's never good for the debtors, of the business, or allow for a sale transaction to a third-party buyer via an expedited auction process, the company said. So they got to make stuff happen fast. Doesn't sound like they're doing good. And every day that the news gets out and talks about this, that company's value goes down more and more. It's something that most people don't realize how it works. The company's lenders have agreed to allow to fund its business during the transition period because they're just trying to save any dimes they got. In addition, the company said it intends to keep paying its vendors and suppliers under its normal terms. If a third party emerges that will pay more than the value of the current debt, that company would end up owning the company. Any transaction will require the approval of the bankruptcy court. And I gotta be honest with you, it'd be very interesting to find out if somebody actually intends to not only pay off the debt, but walk in with a few dollars more and owning that company, because the debt that's held at the current terms, I have a feeling it's not favorable. Now, the debtors are going to have to take write-downs and take concessions, because anyone that's willing to come in and restructure a company like that, like a hedge fund using a third party, I've worked with those similar companies with my real estate company, and they're going to have to take a massive haircut. And the fact is, where is that haircut coming from? It's coming from someone's pension fund? That's what you got to think about. Most of the money that's in this world is from your pension, and it's floated around and gambled on, and the derivatives market is so insane, it's incredible. All right, guys, that being said, I thank you so much for watching. Economic Ninja is out.